Hey guys, just finished watching Black Lightning, Season 1, Episode 2, Lawanda, the Book of Hope. This episode is really good. It's really interesting to see the way things go with this episode 2 of this. And I like the way they're going with this. And I like the idea of this show, where things are going. I like how things are going with this. And I think it's really cool the way the plans for things going. I like how it looks like there's only going to be 13 episodes of this show, which is really cool. I like the way they're doing that. And it's also, it's also at the same time as seeing it on Netflix and stuff. Although it's on here, that's only a week late on Netflix and stuff. That's kind of cool. But it's really cool to see this and stuff, and it really is cool. So then all the other different stuff that happened in this episode is really cool, the way things are going, and things are very accurate to the comic books from what I know. Like I've been saying, I haven't really read much of the Black Lightning comic books before this or anything, or I haven't read any yet, but after doing some research online, looking at the wikis, the DC wikis online, and looking up origin videos and things like that, a lot of stuff about researching stuff about Black Lightning and stuff, finding out that these things are really connected to the comics, and I really like the way they're doing that. So let's go here. Got a huge ton of drop points to talk about. So the first one was interesting at the beginning of the episode, seeing how Black Lightning was sick or something like that, or something was going on. The lightning was going all over his body, which looked really cool, and the way they were doing it looked really awesome, looked really cool to see that. So it was really cool the way they did that. Definitely can't wait to see how things go with that. And they never really explained what is going on with his powers. You know, was he sick? Why was he sick and all that? And it got me thinking to the point of where I paused the beginning of the episode to watch just an origin video on YouTube to really figure out, okay, what is he? How is he? Is it his suit that gives him his powers? Is he like, did he get his powers from an accident? Did he, where did he get them? And from what I get from the online and stuff, from YouTube videos, origin, all that stuff, all over the place, is pretty much that originally it was the suit that gave him the powers, but then the suit eventually transferred the powers to him after he wore it so long that it affected his body and he got the powers himself. And then in other versions like New 52, it was just his own powers type thing. So it is pretty cool the way clearly they're going with that way. They're going the way that it's his own power. It's not from the suit or anything, which is interesting to see that. So hopefully we get a flashback to how he got this power, or maybe he was born with it, and how they developed. How long, like I said in the first episode, we never found out how long was he Black Lightning. Yes, it was 9 years ago he was Black Lightning, and we know how long there was in between, but how long was he Black Lightning at that point? He clearly had. We now find out in this episode that he had met Lynn in that episode, and before his powers, he knew her before then. So how old was he when he first discovered his powers? Could we get a flashback to that? That would be cool to see that. Maybe he's reminiscing, because he has been reminiscing a lot about her, and now that he's bringing back Black Lightning back, I think it's going to be cool to see maybe a flashback to him first discovering his powers, and how old was he for that? So I'd like to see that go. I'd like to see more of these the flashbacks and pieces. But the way they're doing these flashbacks, sometimes when they do it all black and white and stuff, really doesn't look good the way they do it. I don't like it. The one times when they go back here and there with him in the bathtub all bloody and stuff, I get the idea and the way to really obviously tell us that this is a flashback, but the way they do it, and they only show it for a couple of seconds, that there's not much time put into that. I mean, what's her face? There's just obvious wigs that people were wearing in the flashbacks. It was just so terrible. So that is when I kind of say, okay, I get that for the flashbacks. You don't want to dwell on it too much and all that, but still, I just need to see some flashbacks, and they need to do something where they're actually putting time into that and not having these terrible, not doing it very cheap and stuff. It's like they're, someone on set is like, having their son do it or type thing, and it just doesn't seem. It seems very cheap and low budget when they're doing the flashbacks. So I'd like to see some more drawn out flashbacks to get some more origin stuff as things go on. So hopefully we can get that. Who knows? Doesn't look like we'll be getting any full on flashback episodes in only 13 episodes, but it would be cool to see that and see some bits and pieces as to where things go with that. So that could be cool to see that, or maybe they could do a tie-in comic. Like they could do that. Maybe I haven't heard of anything about that, but it would be cool to see some scenes, some flashbacks to where things have been going on with him and where he's been at type of thing. That could be really interesting to see that. So that'd be cool to see some of that. And then we find out that 24 hours after Black Lightning attacked the hotel, it's back up and running. The 100 gang are using it again to doing their nefarious plans and stuff. And it really is going to be interesting. It really was interesting to see how things go with that, and how the police weren't able to do anything because no one was talking and all that stuff, which is really interesting to see that. And then we find out that Will escaped custody and stuff, and that was interesting to see that. And then we later on we later on find Will. Gamby finds Will, and they never tell us how did Gamby find him, type thing, which was kind of weird. Will, and then we see Will gets shot and killed by his own cousin, by Lala, kills Will, type thing. And then Gamby finds Will's body, which all this stuff with Gamby is just driving me crazy, because I know he's from the comics, I know everything is accurate with his character to the comics and all that, but they're still not giving us an answer as to how does he know how to build this costume, how does he know that? Yes, he's a tailor, but this costume has all kinds of lights built onto it. It has high-tech goggles that he's able to that fade on command. Somehow Black Lightning is pressing something either in his hand, a button in his glove or something, which wouldn't that get pressed at some point? But somehow something is being turned on wirelessly whenever his eyes go down, because he never goes up and touches anything. So somehow something's being changed. And something like that, so some sort of remote in his glove or type thing is doing that. So how did Gamby have the skills to do that? Where did he learn those skills to do that? That would be cool to get some flashbacks to that, because there's a lot of things on there that just kind of, where do they learn all that? It'd kind of be like jumping into Arrow right now and finding out where did Felicity learn to code, type thing, out of nowhere, and then not getting the flashbacks that she went to MIT, she went to all these schools and studying, she's been doing tech for a long time, type thing. And then just figuring out that, where do things go from there. So that's really going to be cool. I'd like to see more into Gamby's past and see how he got the skills that he has, all these hacking skills, where did he get them, and what does he do to do that? Where did he learn them? And why, if he knows all these super duper skills, why is he just a tailor type thing? There's all kinds of places he could be working at, doing things, maybe working with the police, instead of just being a tailor. If he has all these skills, why is he only a tailor? I get the tailor part is from the comic books, and I'm glad that they keep that accurate to that. I just want to know how did he get those skills. I'd imagine in the comic books they probably went into those, used the same origin in the comic books as where he got all those skills, and why he keeps this shop going and doesn't use all of his other super skills, because he seems way overqualified to just be a tailor type thing. And clearly the tailor's not making a lot of money, because he'd have other tailors to help with customers all the time, and you never see any customers in his store. It's not like Black Lightning's coming in, Jefferson Pierce is coming in, and then he's kicking out customers to get him to help with Black Lightning type thing. So I'd like to see all kinds of more stuff and dive deeper into Gamby and all that with this show. So I don't think we're going to, since we only have 13 episodes, so we'll have to wait and see where things go with this, but maybe we can get some more and get some teases as time goes on. So that'd be fun to get that. And then we see later on, Jefferson Pierce gets attacked. Oh yeah, Jennifer Pierce gets attacked at home with a water gun. The 100, La La Land sends over the little boy with the water gun and some sort of red paint or whatever in there, just to prove a point, everything after talking to the cops and stuff. That was kind of cool seeing that. And then the other part we find Anissa Pierce is actually gay, and she's a lesbian. She's a lesbian with her friend Chinoa, which I haven't looked that one up yet to see if she's from the comic books. But let's check that out here on the DC Wiki. Is she a character from the comics? Let's see how that is. Ooh, Black Lightning TV series, and no, doesn't look like it. She looks like she's strictly from this show type thing. Because if I'm not mistaken, from what I see here on there, it was Chance or something like that. It was one of the members in the comic book. She was dating, had a relationship with one of the other members of the Insiders Club or type thing, or the Invaders, Insiders, whatever type thing. So it really is interesting to see that they're bringing this storyline from the comic books in there, different characters, but it is really cool that they're doing that. They're not just making some random character that it's actually a character from the comics. That's really cool the way they're doing that. It's going to be fun to see how things go with that storyline and how they continue that and how they play it on here, and how the CW plays it different with Greg Berlanti running this show again, how he's going to run it, how they're going to run it differently as other characters that they do, how they do, Alex on Supergirl, how they do what's her face on Sarah Lance on Legend of Tomorrow type thing. And it's really going to be fun to see how they play with that, how things go along, and how things continue on with there, and how they kind of make this different than all those other LGBT characters that they have in the Arrowverse type thing, even Curtis over on Arrow type thing. So it's really going to be cool to see where they put this character and how they make it stand out differently, so that if we ever have a crossover with everyone together, they all don't seem like the same exact character, which the CW has been doing great at doing different characters like that. So it's really going to be fun to see that. I guess it works when, you have Greg Berlanti, who himself, if I'm not mistaken, is married to his husband type thing. So that's really going to be cool to see that. And that was really interesting to see that and see how that relationship goes, because it's interesting to see that she didn't hide anything from Chinoa. And it's really going to be cool to see where things go with that, and how where is she going to get we have seen all over the internet all these hints at her having powers and all that stuff, her becoming a superhero, which I don't know if they should have released the pictures of her right away in this show type thing. I mean, we know from the comic books, obviously anyone who reads the comic books is going to know that she becomes a superhero and all that stuff, gets that. But we don't know if this is going to be in this season or if it's going to be later on in the season. So I think it would have been cool to not maybe release the photos of that costume and maybe just let it be and let her kind of maybe release some photos of some sort of prototype costume. Maybe if she has kind of like what Elongated Man's been having up until now, the prototype costume, or like the first episode that Flash had where they had that red costume with like the helmet type thing, and just leaving the costume out type thing. I think that could have been cool to do that, but maybe they didn't want to have set leaks or anything like that. But I haven't seen any set photos or anything like that of her maybe in costume that would indicate, oh, they put this out so that these set photos didn't spoil it first type thing. So we'll have to wait and see where things go with that. But if I'm not mistaken, also as she becomes a superhero, Thunder, in the comic books, if I'm not mistaken, she, from what I've been researching and stuff and seeing a bit all over online about it, is that she actually becomes a superhero, but doesn't tell Black Lightning, doesn't tell her father, because she doesn't know that her father is Black Lightning. They actually discover that each other are superheroes in the field type thing, and they all meet in the field chasing down criminals type thing. So that could be cool. Maybe they're both attacking the 100 gang, and the 100 gang being so big and so wide type thing, they're both attacking them from different angles until eventually they meet randomly at one point type thing. At the same type different thing to go. I think that could be really cool to see that and see how close they kind of just miss each other type thing, where they they both get calls to different crimes being caused by the 100 gang. They both go to different places, and eventually they meet at one later on down the road. That could be cool to see that. But it's really going to be cool, like I said, to see where does she get that costume. We have, obviously it's not in this episode, not yet, but that costume that we've been seeing the photos flying around all over the internet, where did she get that? Who builds it? Is it Gambi again? I'd assume, but who else could build it? We'll have to wait and see with that. So what else is here? I think then we saw Lawanda. Lawanda was killed for looking for her daughter type thing, and then we got the video at the end that led to that type thing. That was really cool seeing that there. So I was really cool with that. And although we never got her daughter as we expected, I like how they went. They expected you to have Lawanda White kind of, maybe her daughter being missing type thing, coming up dead, and they didn't go that way. And then Black Lightning coming in to help Lawanda type thing, because just like he helped for his daughter type thing. I think that could be cool with that, because there was some times with Lawanda White it was kind of seemed like, oh, it's almost as if you know that he's Black Lightning type thing, and then she said something else. I was like, oh, okay. So it's going to be interesting to see how they played with that there. And then we get to see Jennifer tries to drink her feelings away, but then her boyfriend, or her newly boyfriend now, Kylie type thing. I don't know his name, but it is Kahili. It is interesting to see that and see how that goes with that relationship. How he's trying to keep her down the right path. It's gonna be interesting to see how old is he, older than her type thing, because it definitely seemed like a big age gap, especially when they were. When he was working out type thing next to her, he looked like he was almost old enough to be older than his sister type thing. So it's really going to be interesting to see where that relationship goes and how things go with that. And I like how with the relationship things, we don't get too much of them. We get snippets here and there. They don't focus on it too much. I mean, there is the whole dynamic of Jefferson Pierce trying to become Black Lightning again, with his family not wanting to, or his ex-wife not wanting to, which is interesting here that they keep referring to her. I'm not sure if they called her maiden name in the episode, but in IMDb they just list her as Lynn Pierce type thing, whereas in the comic book she was actually Lynn Stewart type thing. So that was really going to be cool. I'm not sure if they've said that and not throughout these episodes yet, but that'd be cool to mention that name. make sure she keeps the original, maiden name from the comic books. So yeah, that was cool seeing that, how she was going to drink her feelings away, but then her boyfriend kind of stopped her. It was interesting to see that, how they both kind of turned, both Pierce sisters decide to go and with their respective others to try and help with each other. That's going to be cool to see where that goes and how that relationship continues on with their type of thing. So that's going to be fun to see that. And how does she deal with when she starts getting her powers? Because we do know, if I'm not mistaken, in the comic books, they would both get powers, but we'll have to wait and see if she ends up getting her powers in this show this season. We'll have to wait and see with that, but I would assume not, since her sister has only waited till now to get her powers. Her powers have only come out at this age, so don't know what the age difference is or how old they are compared to each other, but maybe they have to wait a little bit longer until she's, an adult. Maybe when she turns 18 or when she turns kind of 20, that's when things start kind of evolving type thing as she hits that age. We'll have to wait and see with that. How come her powers, how come one powers only come out at a certain time? Maybe things happen, or maybe things will come out during an extreme stress situation, with the 100 again. We'll have to wait and see with that. That'll be fun to see that. And then we see Lynn Stewart confronts Gambit about the Black Lightning returning type thing, and then we get that story, the story between, or the speech from Gambit to her, pretty much saying that it's his power, it's his choice to do what he wants with these powers and all that stuff. And that was kind of interesting to see how that plays. And to me, it's kind of, I don't know why no one's kind of talking to her about it. It's kind of like, she's married to someone in the military, whether she wants to or not type of thing. Yes, it's difficult on a person, so it's interesting to see how things go with that type of thing. And it would be cool to see where things go. Hopefully she doesn't kind of sticks to her ground type thing and sticks to the fact she doesn't want to live with that, and how things could kind of slowly evolve with that to kind of keeping her around but not having her around too much type thing, and to see what she's going to think when her daughters, especially when Anissa goes out as Thunder type thing. That'll be cool to see that, where that comes from too. And then we saw Black Lightning at the end get caught by the police type thing, and then he got away very easily, which was interesting because during some of the research I was doing or looking around on the internet about Black Lightning and stuff, watching some YouTube videos and stuff about his origin, is that he's actually he's able to fly around and go the speed of light, and actually able to lift things with his lightning powers, which we saw that in the last episode. But it would be cool to see him fly around with some of his powers, and it looks like maybe in the next week's episode with the trailer, he does play around with his powers and try new things. Maybe he can learn new tricks or learn old tricks all over again, because he doesn't seem like he's forgotten how to use his powers, but maybe some things like flying around he hasn't done in such a long time that he needs to relearn those. So that could be cool to see that, or maybe this time he could learn new powers like flying around and going the speed of light type thing, and that could be really cool to see that in the comics, in this show type thing, seeing him fly so fast, and maybe a slow-mo scene type thing that could be really cool. Kind of like the Flash, but maybe a way to do it different with showing speed, so that he's not doing exactly the same thing as the Flash, but seeing him do different stuff could be fun to see that. Maybe see him, I'd like to see, because I wanted to see him at one point, maybe if he's going into another layer of the 100 and like bullets are flying everywhere, and he just puts up a force field of electricity stopping all magnets, all metal and everything, of just sheer lightning, just a ball of lightning around him, keeping out everything. I think that could be cool if he's able to do telekinesis with some of the lightning and static electricity and the magnetic field of the earth type thing. That could be cool to see that, and see just a bunch of bullets all stopped and just staying there right like that. I think that could be really fun to see that, and how things go and how fast his lightning goes. I think that could be really fun to see that in the show. I think it could be interesting to see that in a way to do it a little bit different than the way they do the slow-mo scenes on the Flash. Then we find out that we see Anissa at a drugstore, and she's during the robbery, and she ended up just taking the guy and throwing him, which was kind of interesting to see that, the way that happened. It was going to be cool to see, although her hands didn't really glow like they did when she, in the last week's episode, the first episode, when she broke her sink type thing, didn't really glow the same thing. So we'll see how that works later on as things, see if things stay consistent with that. And then we see Tobias Wales goes into the jail cell, and he kills Zalala with one hand. And we also find out then that there's the guard just opens up the door for him. So the guard's probably on his payroll. He probably has a bunch of the guards on his payroll, which he probably does have maybe some police type thing. We'll have to wait and see how much is he, how much power does he have? Is it just that one guard, or just a couple of guards in prison? Or does he have any cops type thing? Is there a big difference between cops and just correctional officers at at a prison type thing. So that could be cool to see with that. And also, this is kind of it wasn't clear whether or not this was just prison or if this was just holding. It looked like it was just holding, since Lala was still in his full costume, full clothes type thing, and not in any prison outfit or anything like that. So maybe they didn't have time to officially book him just yet, whereas clearly they will. They have the video of him killing Lawanda White, so that's really going to be cool to see how that goes. And you seen Tobias kind of just go in and kill him, which was an interesting way that they did that. It does send a message, and it is an interesting idea of the visual of seeing him go in and just kind of crushing his hand with one hand, crushing him with one hand type thing, and showing his power type thing with all that. Although I just don't see why he did that. It didn't make sense for the move to do that, because to go in and do it yourself, it wasn't like the jail was full of people who were all criminals, and he's sending a message by doing that. It didn't look like there was anyone else there except for the guards that knew him. They're on his payroll. So it's just like, why do it yourself when you can just pay someone who's inside to do it, or get someone who's another criminal who's already inside to do it, or have the guards themselves kill him somehow, either by poisoning his food or whatever, something like that. It seems like so much easier to do that than walking in and doing there, because now these guards not only have to explain to how he died. They're obviously gonna examine Lala's body and find out, how he died and all that stuff. Whereas if he just died by another inmate, it would just be impossible to find out if, he was somewhere later on at one point and just passes out, or, he gets drugged and something, how he dies or something like that. And it would be so much easier to clean it, to cover your tracks, rather than having to cover tracks. Now that you got this body and you got this, it just seems like so much easier to have an inmate or one of the officers do it, one of the guards do it while everyone's out while everyone's outside or type thing during commotion. It'd be so easy to get that done and not know who actually killed them. And whereas now they gotta erase the tapes, they gotta look at the security cameras and deal with that. Just seems like there's all kinds of stuff all kinds of problems with the way he did it this way. Whereas I understand with the way they're going for visually on the show type thing, and then the moment they want to have on the show, but just having him, it just didn't seem like it was worth the while for the character. It didn't seem like it was worth his time. It seems like such a trouble to do it the way he did, rather than just, like I said, having the guards just stab him, or having the inmates do it. Maybe Wales has a bunch of people in there who he knows type thing, or he can just the guards could just pay them to just, a bunch of them just swarm him, and then he gets stabbed, and then the swarm goes away, then the group of people go away, and the security cameras can't tell who killed them with what, no one knows type thing. I think that could have been easily arranged to do that. So I don't know why they didn't just do it that way, and it could have been interesting to see that. The way they did that, I think there would have been another way to do it. It's this way just seemed very sloppy for Wales to do that. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Really going to be interested to see, like I said, with the guard on his payroll, does he have any cops on his payroll? We'll have to wait and see with that. It didn't look like it. I feel like they would have shown us, maybe not yet. But I feel like just he's showing us that he clearly has this guard on payroll, because he didn't show like he was threatening him, or he was, or he had any leverage to make this guard just let him into the prison like that. But it would be cool to see if he has any cops later on his payroll. I think that could be interesting to see that, because like I said, there is a difference. Obviously it would be a lot easier to get, maybe a guard type thing. They probably are paid less type thing. It would be cool than the high ranking detective or anything. But it would be cool to see how things go with that, and if he has an informant within the police department. So all in all, this episode was really interesting to see. It really was cool. Like I said, there's a few things that I'd like to see more about, just with the Gambi history and stuff and things with that, and how things go with all that. So that's really going to be cool to see how things go in episode 3. Can't wait to see where and how things go. So let me know what you guys with all these in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.